Hey guys, this is Manny Simone Cards here with another video. Today we're not doing an opening, but we're covering Bandai Card Fest. Me and my brother just got back. We also brought my little sister. She will not be in the video because she is uninterested. But we're gonna, as you can see from the title and thumbnail, there was ups and downs at the convention. We'll go over all that. But first, let me just sell myself a little bit. I just did a Sanji drawing up on my shop right now with other One Piece and anime superhero artwork. So if you want to support the channel, please buy a print or buy a commission. But let's get into the video right now. Now, I just want to get out of the way. This was a free event, so I'm trying to avoid sounding ungrateful or greedy. It's a free event. You didn't have to pay to get in. I've never been to a convention where you didn't have to pay to get in. And they gave tons of free promos that you can, if you were interested, these cards immediately go for money on eBay. So they're giving you product that you could resell. So you're getting a lot out of this. With that said, I compare it to someone throwing a party. If you're hosting a party at your house, yeah, free drinks, free food, free entertainment. But as a host, you gotta take care of your guests, make sure they have a good time. Right. So even though it was free, there was some things that we ran into that were pretty negative that I didn't like. For starters, when we got there, the doors open at 10 a.m. We got there, I think, at 9:20. I did not expect the line to be that long. We ended up being there in the line for like an hour, just trying to get our badges, which my expectations were not that, so that's why I was like pretty stressed about the whole line. But it's a convention, I guess it is what it is. But when we got to the front of the line, there was only 3 people giving out badges. I felt like the whole time the convention was understaffed.
It did seem that way, yeah. Very
understaffed. They just running around in circles, asking people questions. We were getting more information from the attendees than the actual people working there. Luckily, this guy's pretty social, so we were getting answers. I was asking people for stuff too. But yeah, the long line, it was thousands of people trying to get in, and they had 3 people just giving out badges. I think they could have shuffled people in a lot faster if they would have had more staff. And but when you walk in, they do give you a baggie. It came with a Digimon manga, which I started reading, pretty good. It's a bunch of short stories in there. So it was like a contest. So I guess they have an online Digimon manga now, and it was a contest for a bunch of different people. So it's some short stories. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, they give you free promos. But I wish they were more welcoming. It was kind of like you're cattle, and they're just shuffling you around. I wish it was more like, welcome to this amazing event. Thank you for coming. Here's these amazing free promos. Just make it feel more special. Because it is really cool. You're getting awesome cards from all the different Bandai TCGs, and it's special.
And on that note, though, too, I mean, they had the release of the Gundam one this weekend they were doing, right?
Yeah, news to me. I found out when we got there, but big time Gundam TCG with little models and figures you can paint. But it was a big deal. I saw someone, they give you a box for signing up for it, and I saw it going for $500 on eBay. What were you going to say about that?
No, I was just saying, but there's also that other game. What is it where they mix together the anime?
Union Arena.
Yeah, Union Arena. So, I mean, you would think that with it being so focused, like Bandai's here, and the focus is on all of these different card games, that they would provide more interaction on the different, on the interaction of it all. You know what I mean? Instead of just being a few people, it's like, hey, we're going to set this up, and we're going to interact these things together, because they have a card game that's based on interacting them together.
What do you mean exactly, like interacting with the TCG?
So you've got several of these different, you said, at least for the anime, you had, what is it, the...
In Union Arena?
Yeah.
Hunter x Hunter, Bleach, Jujutsu Kaisen, Code GS, and more. Right. I'm not forgetting
So not only was it a Gundam release thing, but there's also this Union Arena push as it's coming out more. And Bandai as a company is focused on integrating these different anime. I find it ironic that, hey, they're putting this together, but they can't integrate their own convention and be like, hey, we have One Piece here, we have this here, and then have different things happen for these people coming in for different things. That's all I'm saying.
Like a staff member telling you the different things going down?
Somewhat, just like you said, adding more people and staff. But they only had a couple people for us coming in. That was annoying.
Like teaching you, like, hey, check this out. Right. You might be interested in this, like guiding you along,
right?
Instead of just kind of throwing you in there and like, oh, what do I do?
Right. It seemed like the Bandai only hired the event people from the convention center themselves, but
like they didn't know what was going down.
Right.
But, you want a more informed? Okay, I see.
Right. If Bandai had people there who could help navigate the crowds, then you could do crowd work and people have good times there, as far as, you know, here we're going to talk about this, we're going to interact with this, just anything. More interaction than just the people being cattled through. So that's something that
Yeah, like a tour guide type deal for all
Sort
the
of.
different things going. Yeah, I agree. That would just be more interactive and just another friendly aspect to the show. You didn't do the demo, but to the point you were saying, the demo was actually pretty cool because they did have people who knew what they were talking about.
Yeah, I saw that.
So with the demo, they gave you half a deck, half a starter deck, and then they just told you the basics and fundamentals. Me and my sister were learning Union Arena. I'll show B-roll right now. But that was cool. They were definitely informed, and if you had questions, they had answers. They knew what they were talking about. So, but if they could have had more of that throughout the convention, that would have been cool. So you had the line. So the big draw of this show for me was I do One Piece openings, and it's almost impossible to get any sort of One Piece product booster box for retail. As soon as it comes out, you have to go to the card shop or eBay, and it's supposed to retail for 100, and they start at 160 at a card shop, if not 200. So they have a official Bandai store where everything's for retail. So that was a big draw. Again, got there at 9:20. Doors open at 10. We got in. It was past 11 by the time we got in the doors. First thing I do is go straight to the Bandai store. They don't tell you that you need a time slot, but luckily someone told me that ahead of time. Or I watched YouTube videos and I was in people's comment section. They told me you need a time slot. So I went there and I asked for a time slot and they were gone as soon as I walked in there. So the main reason why I went to the free event was to get products for YouTube and to keep stuff sealed long term, and I couldn't do it. So right off the bat, Saturday was a bust there, but try to make the best of it. It sucked, but you got to move on and see what else we can do at the show.
Right. The challenge with that, because it wasn't just in doing time slots, it wasn't just the product, it wasn't just the store itself. The other events that were there, when it's all sorted by time slot, everyone who gets there before you is already rushing to grab whatever slots you can in a limited amount of time. So I don't know if Bandai didn't plan for that many people to show up, but if regardless, I think they should track the numbers and plan for it better. Some people that we talked with came from other events, from Texas or California, and they said that they were better, but then again, they're bigger events, they're used to that. So maybe this just could be used for their marketing and structure to try to figure out, hey, here's how many people are interested in coming to Florida.
Yeah, no, the one guy said he went to the one, I don't know if it was Dallas or California, but he said this one was a lot less people. But still, if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know that to get 2 hours early to wait in line, you can't do much.
Right.
There's people that already knew what to do. They knew about the time slots and got there in time early. Sunday was night and day. We'll get to Sunday after we finish with Saturday, but Sunday was a lot better time because we
planned ahead.
We planned ahead and we adapted.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and speaking of the time slots, so the slots start at 8 a.m., but the doors open at 10 a.m. So it starts at 8 a.m. because they let the people playing in the tournaments go in early to get product, which is cool because this is Bandai Card Fest is mainly for the players, and the guests are lucky enough to get in for free and participate. But I like that it's formed around the players to avoid the flippers and sellers that would buy up all the products. When you do get your hands on the booster boxes from the store, they immediately cut the wrapper open, which was surprising to me. I was like, can I let me get one seal, please, ma'am. Please just keep one seal. I can't do it. I tried, but necessary costs. I rather them cut all my stuff open than them keep stuff sealed, because we wouldn't get any product at all if it was more easily available to all the flippers. They would buy up all the product before we get any. So them just slicing it open gets rid of a lot of people.
Great.
So that's good.
And that's one thing about the interaction this weekend I thought was cool, is because it's player focused, they had different parts set up where you could interact with the players. They had side events, they had primary events, they had a stage where you could see in the different types of tournaments for the different TCGs that they were hosting and different championships.
Yeah, the display on the stage was awesome because they had a little screen. They had the big screens that you can see the guys playing, but also little screens of the different cards, and the screens would change depending on what was coming up next. So if it was Digimon, it was Digimon cards, One Piece cards, and so on and so forth. So it was organized in the sense like you know what you're getting into. If you're sitting in that chair, you know what you're about to watch. Right. And then they had a side stage with the speakers who were narrating and commentating over the game, and you could hear them just fine. So I thought that was presented beautifully.
Yeah, that was well done.
So Bandai Fest, great job on that. Bandai, the convention as a whole, I thought was clean. It wasn't cluttered. It was like a gallery. It was very nice with the different setups and the different
exhibits.
the different exhibits that they were presenting. So if you go to a place like I don't know, MegaCon or something like that in Orlando, like these big conventions where you're like shoulder to shoulder with people and you can't even walk through and it's congested and dirty and nasty and germs everywhere. This was clean and more. I liked it. So kudos on that aspect. So all those time slots were taken at the Bandai shop. So on to the next thing. Let's see what else we can do at the store at the convention. So they had the scavenger hunt. That was very confusing. So we had to keep asking around. There's like no information available. How do you do the scavenger hunt? Who do you talk to? I know the first thing you do is you're talking to the guy at the table, and he's like, "Oh, it starts at 11 or 12 or something." I'm like, But what's starting? And actually, it didn't start at 12. You could do the scavenger hunt because they have QR codes throughout the different different exhibits. So you can start whenever and start getting the accumulating the points. So what he was saying, like I guess the shop opened for you to use the points. I was waiting in line. A line started forming in front of the scavenger hunt table, and no one in the line knew what the line was for. People kept coming in like, "What's the line for?" The guy in front of me is like, "I don't know. I'm just standing here." So no one knew if this was the start of the scavenger hunt. Like first, I'm like, "Okay, this is how you start. This is the first thing you do. You have to start it here." Hindsight 2020, it was to get the prizes for the scavenger hunt, but it's not like they had anyone telling you that at the front of the line, guiding you. There was no sign saying it. It was just very confusing. And then the dude puts up a sign for the survey to get, it's the question 14, the survey, and he's like, it's outdated, it's not gonna work. So we're doing it, and we get the secret answer and the secret word that you have to type in to answer the question, and it doesn't work. And he knew it doesn't work, and he told us it was outdated, but yet he still had the sign out there. So we had to find some random staff member holding a paper with a QR code with the right survey. And that took forever to find them as well. It was just...
And I heard people who actually found that person, they still had the wrong code. I just happened to hear the code from people talking online. So that's why I'm like, here's the answer. And that was the problem is for the scavenger hunt, for those of you, like when we say we're scavenging, they're drawing us to the different exhibits, and they are... and they're trying to showcase them, and that makes sense. But then part of it, to get the point, because when you accumulate more points, you can get different prizes. The higher the points, the more prizes you could get. Part of that though is subscribe to their TCG online. It isn't
YouTube,
just taking a
Instagram.
picture, right? So there's a media aspect, which more than, and it was beyond just the time slots at the conference. It was very heavily phone or media focused in that regard. So if you wanted to participate in that, be prepared for that. But then when you take a picture of, or you get around these QR codes, these stations, you get these people who are holding this piece of paper, and they're just being enveloped
like vultures.
Yeah, by
it was like the rat race. Like everyone with their phones trying to get this QR code, and you're getting bumped, and like, come on, guys.
So I just imagine the person who's holding the QR code feeling like an animal in an exhibit, and everyone's just quiet around them,
overwhelmed,
and people aren't talking to each other. They're just there to get the QR code. So I try to lighten up somewhat, and but my suggestion, constructive criticism for Bandai, is if you're going to do stuff like that, have a triple tripod and have the QR code above eye level. So that way when people can zoom in, they can look at the code from there instead of just enveloping around a single person and then waiting a half hour for that crowd to go down. But after we did all that, the last thing was a survey, as Manny was saying. And again, the wrong code. So that has got to be dealt with better.
That's like so easily like a problem to avoid. Like, how does that even happen? And the guy knew it was wrong, but he still put it out. And even with the time slots for the Bandai store, like it was 11:20, and we knew there was no more time slots available. I think we left at 4 p.m. and the staff still had the QR code. So throughout the day, you just have people scanning the code just to see that there's no time slots available. I'm like, why are you doing this to people? Just put a sign out saying no more time slots available.
Right.
You're wasting everyone's time. Right. Hours and hours and hours go by. People are still scanning. It was a lot of wasting of time.
The only thing I could think of why they did that was because it's less work for Bandai as a company to do with. Because remember, they're dealing with the trading card game primarily. So they're hosting that event, and that's why, like you said, the main stage looked good watching that. So they did that part well, but I think they need to have another division do better when it comes to how they're liaisoning with the event staff at that place. So if they're just going to go hire the event for the convention, and that people are responsible, I think they need to have a bigger team to assist that event, because it's just dropping the ball. It's not keeping the same level of excitement, the same level of interaction, the same level of planning.
Right.
So I could see why they're just doing it this way, but it makes them so it makes them remove their hands so much that the rest of it just backs off, and it's terrible.
Yeah, I get hiring people, convention staff people that to clean up garbage or sell food, but if you're dealing with
Or security,
but if you're dealing with the actual game and stuff to deal with that, you should probably hire Bandai.
yeah, they're the
official
entertainers there, right?
people. Yeah.
So that makes sense.
They're representing Bandai. They're the face in that moment. They're the face of Bandai.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So after the scavenger hunt, we get all the points. We figured it out, but at that point the line was so long. I was like, Gary, let's just save this for Sunday, and fingers crossed, because they say why supplies last. So I was hoping Sunday they still had the cool promo cards that I wanted, but it was a gamble. But I was not gonna stand in line. I was too stressed about that. So I was just going to save that for Sunday. So on to the next thing. They have the Gundam build, which I wasn't planning on doing or really had much interest in, but not too many things to do. But cool thing to try, whatever. When in Rome. So we go to do the Gundam build, and all the time slots are filled for that.
Yeah.
We were too late to the game on that. On to the next thing. The demo. The cool area where you have to, again, no staff, no one telling you how things work. So you're just asking people. So you wait in line, and then you go to the table, and then you have to sign up for time slots, and you get to pick what game you want to play, yada yada. So this is about that towards the end of the day, and I was fuming, and I'm waiting in line. I think we were waiting in line for like 10 minutes. I get to the front, and they're like, everyone stop, 2 p.m. Gundam time slots come through. I was like, all right, a couple people, that's fine. I think another 10 minutes go by, and I'm still waiting for these Gundam people to come through, because it's not like they can just shuffle through. They have to all go to this front table and sign up again. I don't know. But it was taking forever, and at that point I'm like, Gary, enough is enough. Right. I can't take any more of this. Let's get out of here. But in between this, they were playing the Digimon movie. We caught the end of it. That was cool. At conventions, I usually don't do that. At like an anime convention, they'll have like shows playing in a certain room. I usually don't do that because I could do that at home, but literally there was nothing else to do. For future though, if we ever do this again, and this is our fault, it's a TCG convention. We were not playing the TCG. We bought starter decks, and the day before the show was Saturday. Friday we went to a local store, and he bought a starter deck. He pulled a Gold Dawn. Actually, he bought the Doflamingo deck. But we're trying to play, but we can only learn so much on our own, so we can't really have fun if we don't know the rules.
Right.
But if we were to go in the future, that's just a great way to kill time and have fun. There's so many tables around. You can play anywhere in that convention. So that's cool. And you can probably meet random people. You could trade people if you brought your binder. So that aspect was cool. For the future, we should know how to play. That'd be a great way to have fun and meet people and kill time while you're waiting for other things to start or happen.
So on that note, though, I mean, this is where, as an event organizer, Bandai, going back to, they could hire people who make these, like they had a room where you could do a free play room. They had that, right? We passed by that, and that was outside of the main arena, or the main part. So people go and they free play. They probably did trades. But most people who are here, people don't tend to be very talkative, and it makes sense. There's social norms, there's strangers. Here you're trying to get through all of the above.
That's just a general thing and human nature thing.
Right, so knowing that, though, Bandai can also be like, hey, in this place, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have this spot specifically, and they have a hired event coordinator to help facilitate the beginning of that. Because most people, like even when we were in line, I might have a better ability at starting conversation. Not everyone continues to talk back, but for those who do, the hardest part is just starting. So what if you have an event person who is doing that? Most people are just freaking awesome. They come from different walks of life. You had some people who are trading cards. I met a guy who is a wholesaler, but he only sells to brick and mortar stores. There's a guy who used to be in the Navy. His wife was there, and she was playing the
We
TCG.
met a rugby player?
Yeah, a rugby player who's traveling around the world, or the U.S. So people generally tend to be welcoming, but
You just gotta crack that shell.
yeah, and going to what you said earlier about the party, right? Like you show up to a party, there's free food, free drinks. Yeah, it's free. So that means that the people who attend the party have a responsibility to add to it. You know what I mean? But that's a skill set developed as well. So Bandai, suggestion, try to spur that on with people. Or if you're watching this and you go to one, be willing to test that out a little bit.
And I didn't even know about the playroom. I know we walked by it, but I completely forgot about it. That's another thing. The scheduling. If you go on they had an app, they had a website. You can't. It's really confusing to find the schedule when things are happening. Oh my God, they had one of the creators or producers or artists for the Union Arena TCG. And we were leaving on Saturday, and we were like just going outside and we're going past the concession stand food, and they have her. I hear the guy on the, all right, everybody. Or I don't think he had a mic. He's all right. This lady's over here. If you want a card signed, come over here. Right. And this is outside the convention area, the halls.
Right.
It's out
in the food court.
It's in the food court outside. This poor lady. I feel so. She should have a booth inside the convention with a spotlight on her. I bet no one knew she was there. If people did, she would have a long line. People would want autographs. She is one of the special guests. I even saw her walking around on Sunday. She had like a whole posse around her. She's straight from Japan. She had an accent. She was probably flown in here for this special event. And they had a couple people like that. Other artists too. Like they should be spotlighted. No one knew what was going on. There wasn't a good spread of information. And they should have gave out pamphlets or scheduling when you walked in, just so you know what's happening and when, who's there, and where to find them. No one knew this lady was in front of her concession stand. Right. This poor woman, one of the stars of the show. That's unforgivable to me.
Right, and as we were leaving, someone showed up. What was that guy's name? He has a Luffy.
Oh, Speed. I didn't even. We left before he got there. But yeah.
As we were leaving, a half hour later, he showed up.
Yeah, on Instagram, I sit back to the Airbnb. I'm like, oh crap, just missed him. He was on stage and everything, which again wasn't scheduled. No one knew he was gonna be on stage, and yeah, whatever. Missed that. That would have been good footage. I don't even know what he was doing there.
Yeah, so with Saturday and all of these, like, there are good things that happened here at the event as well, and just being critical and fair and trying to give good constructive criticism. Saturday was just draining, though. When you keep showing up and you can't get to this event, or you can't do something, or you can't do something else, it just keeps adding up and it just makes you drained. So that was how Saturday went, unfortunately.
And we know all this after Saturday. It's not there was no information to know any sort of everything we're explaining to you. We did not know beforehand, and I'm sure a lot of other people didn't know about it either. But Sunday. We knew.
Yes.
We set a game plan. I talked to Gary. I'm like, I think I should get there at 7:30. Like, we were talking to other people. Oh yeah, with the shop. One guy in line was telling us that they got in and they scanned the QR code, and then they sent the QR code to the people waiting in line outside so they can sign up without even walking in. So that was a hack. And then another guy told me, yeah, he got there at 7:30 and there were still people in front of him. But anyways, we scanned the QR code before we left on Saturday. Sunday, you dropped me off in front. We were able to sign up for the shop without even walking in. We got a time slot. I get in line, meet some cool people. They gave me some promo cards. I talked to them for a couple hours. Three guys that were playing in one of the One Piece tournaments or side events. So that time flew by, waiting in line that time. I stood in line longer, but it felt faster. Just because I was talking with people and they were really cool. Got the time slots, walked in, got all the product I wanted to get. I wish they didn't have OPO1, they didn't have EBO1, and they didn't have PRB, which are the hottest sets. Well, OPO5 is like the fan favorite. I can't believe how much OPO5 they had. OPO9, the latest set, is crazy. Like, that is being printed to the ground. There's so much, they couldn't get rid of OPO9. And of course, OPO8, OPO7, those sets, but there was so much OPO9. And then OPO5 was a ton. I spent a lot of money. So, but I got O2, 03, 04, 05, and then I got a couple boxes of 09, and then they had the $15 booklets, One Piece leader booklets. So we got there early enough, I actually signed up for multiple time slots just to make sure I can get in. But after I did the first time slot, I was fine. But it's just night and day. Like yesterday or Saturday, I couldn't get a time slot, and then Sunday I had too many time slots. So that was funny. And we were able to do everything we wanted to do. We made sure to get the Gundam Wing time slots. Like, you were ahead of that. Like me, I was hanging out with Jessica, and then you're like, you guys stay here, I'll get those. So we were more methodical is the word.
Yeah, like methodic.
Yeah, but just dissecting. Strategic. We knew what was up. So we did everything we wanted. The Gundam Wing, did the demo. We got in line early for the scavenger hunt to get our promo cards.
Now, on the note on the strategy, though, like, this is where Bandai, good job, because we could have just showed up and all the product could have been gone. But Bandai, they, at least at this event, they what's it called, restocked for Sunday. So that was great. So that at least made, so imagine if you show up and hey, there's no more Gundam models to do, there's no more promo cards to have, there's no more boxes. So they at least, they did well in keeping things for Sunday for people to participate as well. So that was good, and that allowed us to at least operate strategically. It sucked that we had to wait for that, but I still say good job on at least having that separate.
Yeah, so on Saturday, they must have cut it off at some point. Like, they, at some point, all the OPO5 sold out, and they could have put more out, but they said, no, we'll save this for Sunday.
Right.
And
that's good logistics.
Yeah, that's good for the people that, because not everyone can show up on Saturday. Some people just go on Sunday, so
right.
That was cool that they still had the early sets available. And I could have got more. I could have got a lot more of OPO2 and 4 and 5 and 3, but I only have so much money.
And remember, this was us coming in for free. Right?
Yes.
I mean, if you came in doing the trading card game, you had the opportunity to still do this and participate in it for both days before everyone else came in.
And not to pile on more to the things that they could have done better, but I did write a list of things that they could add to the convention because there's only so much to do. Once you do these few things that we did do, then there's nothing else. It's an all-day event. There's a couple things you can do. What they could have done is they were advertising a lot the new TCGs coming out and the current TCGs. I think it would be cool if they made it more of a museum-like atmosphere where they are showing old school TCG cards of Bandai, like the rare, expensive stuff, and like maybe like kind of like biography with the card, like if you're going to a museum, like, oh, this came out this date, this means this is the history of the card, and have these different exhibits of like the old school cards. And whether you're talking about the TCG, they're covering the One Piece manga as well. They're covering anime stuff. So talk about everything to do with these IPs. That would make it more stuff to do, more things to read, more things to look at, more things to talk about. They could have had more panels. There was no at a convention. There's usually a bunch of rooms at a convention where you can go in and have these different topics and discussions. There was none of that. They could have had a room where you're having all these awesome debates about the cards, or can Zoro beat Luffy in a fight, or fun topics like that. What's better, sub or dub? Just like these common fandom questions. They could have had that scheduled throughout the show for Saturday and Sunday. They could have had a room where they're constantly playing anime, like the best episodes of Gundam Wing, the best episodes of One Piece, Jujutsu Kaisen, playing the Luffy One Piece movie. Just having rooms for that, just so there's more stuff for people to do and be entertained by. That's just stuff I've learned from other conventions that other conventions do, and it's easy to do. You just gotta plan it out.
Yeah, some of the exhibits here, what was pretty cool, because they had the artist rendering and the what's it called, those like the superimposed of what it looks like in the manga and how it's drawn with the ink. What's that called? Like you could see One Piece panels, and they're on these bigger sheets. And I like you could see the cards. I like that you could see some stuff from the pages themselves. And to his point, like, I can imagine if you're tracking Bandai's history, like the TCG history. I got Digimon cards from the 1990s. The artistry used and the way that the artists do the drawings now, most of the Digimon like pop off the card. So it would be cool to see, either as an artist or the TCG themselves, how the art changed over the years. And then also, to his point, maybe some of the things about it. But I mean, that would be cool to interact with people.
Yeah, and have more card artists there. We love the art on these cards.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hire more of these guys that come up with this art. I would love to have some of these cards signed. Like Pokemon. Pokemon's a lot crazier. Like you have Arita, and when Arita signs a card, it's like already worth like 1K. If he signs a Charizard, it's crazy. So it's not gonna be like that for One Piece and stuff. But there's big fans of this product. I would love to meet these different people. So I would.
Right. It's not just a fan of the IP. It's a fan of the artist as well. That's another avenue you can incorporate.
Yeah, they also had one of the co-creators of Union Arena. So I was like,
no.
I mean, who would want to meet that person? But I guess if you're that big of a fan, these diehard fans here that are just really into all aspects of these card games. But yeah, in hindsight, we know to get there early now. We know what to do. We know to learn the dang TCG before we go, because that's just an easy way to kill time. And yeah, it's a free event, so it was cool for what it was. I would definitely return when I need more product, but I'd get there early. But just knowing how to play and bring a binder if I wanted to trade anything, I would do that in the future as well. Interact with people more, and maybe even sign up for the tournament. But Anything else you want to add? Overall, it was a good time. Saturday almost destroyed me. Luckily, we rebounded from Sunday. Because again, I brought my brother Gary and my sister Jessica with me, and I wanted them to have a good time. And after Saturday, I was like embarrassed. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have brought these people with me. This just looks bad. Terrible.
Yeah, I could tell, and that's where I was also trying to plan to be helpful for you the next day, and like, all right, here's what we could do. Here's how I could try to make it better.
Yeah, you're being optimistic.
Here's who I could talk with to try to help with that.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
The only but even on that note, that's what I say, that my encouragement is more from the human aspect, more than the TCG side. Is like we said earlier, we chatted about, is participate while you're there, and because you individually are worth celebrating, someone else is worth celebrating. Just knowing how to and trying to celebrate one another, that's a place where you could celebrate the commonality of, hey, we like this card game, and people are comparing card games, even though some of it's different, the rules are different, but they were comparing it. That's awesome. I enjoyed seeing that spark between people.
But also you mentioned it needs to be managed.
Yeah.
Like when I'm talking about panels in these rooms, to have these sort of topics, it's very hard for people to go up to strangers and just start talking.
Right.
But people come to life when they're in a room with the same like-minded people over the same topic. If they're talking about one single thing, everyone knows why they're there. You can raise your hand and then you talk and stuff like that, or you can just listen. And if you don't want to talk it, but at least you're there for a common purpose over a single topic, over a single question,
right?
Stuff like that.
So if you go to an event like this, I'll say, here's a practical thing. Be like, yo, I'm here to play this game. What are y'all here to play? That's something that you could try to use that specifically.
Like an icebreaker.
Yeah. And then from there, just the fact, if you even do that, and if you feel awkward and you stop, I honor you for at least doing it. But that's what I would say, is if you could do that, then you'll add to the event more than just standing in line.
And it like I said, when I was waiting in line for 2 hours, it flew by just because I was talking to these people, man. It serves you to be able to have conversations with people. But easier said than done, but think of icebreakers. Hey, what TCG brings you here? Oh yeah, how'd you get into that? Like I know the guy that was into Gundam Wing. I even asked him, like, how'd you get into Gundam Wing? Because me growing up, there was no Gundam Wing shows or movies. I always wondered how people are so passionate about Gundam Wing, because I'm a big anime fan. It's just I would have been into Gundam Wing if it was available, but never saw it. So I was always curious, like, how people get into Gundam Wing. And it was hot, that the new Gundam Wing TCG. It was a big thing at that convention. You had to sign up like a month ahead of time to be able to get time slots for it, and it was a lot of people trying to do it, and they're buying models and yada yada. But anyways, that's the end of the video. Thank you, Gary, for joining.
Yep.
Again, check out my store for One Piece prints, anime prints, superhero prints. Let me know if you want a commission. Hit me up on my Instagram, description and down below. Subscribe, like the video, and let me know what you thought of the convention, if you went to this one or one of the ones in the past. And again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.